Mr. Transformers 96 here with another video. I'm going to be doing a ranking video on Hot Toys for Spider-Man No Way Home. So what this is my top 5 most anticipated Hot Toys figures from the film, what I'm really hoping that they'll make. This is a spoiler review. I've seen the film a few times, so, you know, full out spoilers, you've been warned. And yeah, so overall I thought about doing this before the movie came out, but I decided to hold off and wait to see the movie first. And my list is kind of what I expected, even before I saw it. But nonetheless, just very anticipating the Hot Toys series for this movie. I'm glad that they got all the characters that I don't think anybody cares about out of the way up front. They've got all the new Spider-Man suits done, and they did Doctor Strange, so we're good there, wiped out. Let's start on the figures and the characters that we all actually want. And I'll do, after I go through all of these, I'll do kind of an honorable mention section as well. So let's start off. So my number 5, the one that I would like, but in 5th place, is Dr. Octopus here. So the reason that I have him in 5th place is more of a personal thing, is for the fact that there was a third-party company, Toys Era, that already did Dr. Octopus from Spider-Man 2, and they did him really well. It's a fantastic figure, in the Hot Toy scale, and I have it, and it's great. So I have a really good representation of Dr. Octopus. Had I not had that figure, this character would have been a little further up on the list, I think. So I still would like to see what Hot Toys' rendition of it is, and I'm sure I probably would buy Hot Toys' version as well, but it's a little less of like a need since I have something that I already really love. Overall, though, really enjoyed the character of Dr. Octopus within this film, and of course, within his own film, he was fantastic and something that Hot Toys never did. The only villain that we have from the original trilogy from Hot Toys is New Goblin, which out of all of them is probably the one that we would want the least, unfortunately. Nonetheless, that's how the chips fell. So this would be a way to not only give us a figure from the new movie, but a great representation of the character from the original film too, because this character, of course, came straight out of the moment at the end of Spider-Man 2, and therefore they de-aged him to look that way, so he has the look from the original movie. Now, my one concern is that Hot Toys would be tempted to do the red arms, so the arms that are controlled by the nanotech from the Iron Spider suit. I really hope that's not the case, because who wants that version in their collection? A Dr. Octopus who's evil but can't move, and his arms aren't working with himself. Nobody wants that, so I'm really hoping that they don't do that. I hope that if they do this figure, the tentacles will be just their standard version. And I'll be very interested to see how they do the tentacles, and if they can come close to what Toys Era did, because the tentacles that they did were perfect. Articulation in every single joint, which is fantastic. Going on to the next one, number 4, we've got Electro. This is a figure that I very much would like. This is a character that they did make for his original movie, however, unlike Dr. Octopus, had Hot Toys made a Dr. Octopus from Spider-Man 2, we wouldn't need him as much, or even maybe at all, for this new movie. But with Electro, even though they made his original, we need an update, because obviously he had a major redesign in this new movie to give us more of what we were wanting him to look like from Amazing Spider-Man 2. But he looks awesome. He's got, kind of the construction wear jacket with kind of a hose apparatus, mechanical system on his chest with the arc reactor, of course. So that would be very cool. I think he's got a very cool new look. Getting a really good just Jamie Foxx head sculpt and not the blue one would be fantastic as well. And then I would hope that they've got a couple options when it comes to the electricity kind of mask that shows up when he really charges up and shoots his power. Either they could do a separate head sculpt, which I would love, electricity mask with the mouth open really angry, and then a standard head sculpt of Jamie Foxx, mouth closed, a little more stoic. Or they could just do kind of a clip-on, almost like a glasses type of design to clip on the mask effect, which I'm hoping that they don't do. Nonetheless, I want the mask, reflected within the figure somehow. And I think this would be a great figure and a character that desperately needs an update figure-wise, even though we do already have the character in figure form from Hot Toys. Next up, and I considered putting him at number 1. It was either him at number 1 or these other two, but I decided to put him at number 3, we've got Green Goblin. Green Goblin was fantastic in this movie. I think that he was the villain that really stood out, of course, and I really enjoyed William Dafoe's performance, as well as his new costume, allowing him to actually show his face outside of the mask. But the big question is, what version of this character will they do? They have quite a few choices. They can go kind of bottom right here, where it's your straight out of Spider-Man 1, 2002 Green Goblin suit. They could do the, sequence from the middle of the film, where he's crashing through the condominium complex and kills Aunt May. Or they can do end of the movie, top left, more war-torn kind of battle suit. That's 3 really tempting things. To be honest, I think all 3 would be good. However, the classic design, I hope that they don't do. I hope that eventually maybe they come back and do a Green Goblin from Spider-Man 2002, and we get that look eventually. But for this new movie, I'm hoping that they do either the look from the middle of the film or the end. When it just comes to the look itself, I prefer the end. It has more of his costume showing, and it has the bag attached as well, and he still had the hoodie, so you can still represent that too. The look from the middle of the film, that's my favorite scene of the movie. Them fighting in the apartment kind of a complex was fantastic. I think it had the best choreography. It was so intense and so raw. It was really good. So I would not mind having that sculpt as well, or that costume design as well. The big question, I think, is going to be the face sculpt on this one. William Dafoe has a very expressive face, so I'll be super curious to see how they represent it. Whether they're going to go something like their comfort zone, which is very just stoic and just looking. That's usually what they do. However, when it comes to this character, I don't think you can do that, and I hope that they don't do that. I hope that we get some expression, and they can go with a smiling expression, they can go with an angry expression, they can go with quite a few different looks. So I'll be fascinated to see what this head sculpt looks like, and this is going to be an awesome figure, I have to say. Really hoping that they do this. Next up, and I think everyone knows 1 and 2 at this point, but we have Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. So, of course, this is a character, along with number 1, that they've made previously, but I would love kind of like a definitive perfect version. So maybe even a DX. I think that they should do a DX for number 1 and number 2. Number 1 is, of course, the Sam Raimi, Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. So with this, I think that just getting a new, really well-designed suit representing his kind of Amazing Spider-Man 2 and therefore No Way Home suit design would be awesome. With a fantastic head sculpt. I want a head sculpt that's perfect. And obviously having the kind of stubble that he has in this movie as compared to 2016. Overall, I think that this could be a really cool design figure, and giving them a chance to do kind of a definitive Andrew Garfield Spider-Man figure. And the same goes for Tobey Maguire. I want the exact same thing with a fantastic head sculpt, and just like a DX perfect version of this character would be really awesome. One thing that I really enjoyed in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies is that at the end of all 3 of those movies, the spider suit is really torn up, it's really messed up, and it's really aggressive looking, which unfortunately that doesn't happen at all in this movie. Even though he's stabbed, you don't even see a scratch on the suit. So I'm kind of disappointed that we won't get that type of look, or that version of maybe a really destroyed mask or something. But nonetheless, even if it's clean, it would be awesome. And to have a in your collection, I would totally display it like the bottom left shot from the film, where it's the 3 Spider-Men standing together, suited up but with masks off. That would just be perfect. So I really hope that, and I guarantee you we will get Tobey Maguire as well as Andrew Garfield Spider-Man figures. Now, because of the secrecy surrounding the film, I don't think we're going to get these for a long time, unfortunately. I think that they'll very much have to go in development for them right now, instead of being able to start on them, a while back to get them ready for the film's release. So because of that, I doubt that we'll actually get the Spider-Man on pre-order for several months, maybe even a half a year, which is unfortunate. But we'll see. You never know. They might have, even if they didn't get the official confirmation or any images from the studio, from Marvel, maybe they started working on it just because they kind of knew what it would be, like we all did. So fingers crossed that's the case. When it comes to the villains, though, we could start getting these figures soon. Green Goblin, I think, would be the one that we wouldn't get very soon, though, unless they do kind of the original movie look, which I hope they won't. But Electro's been shown in the trailers for the last few months, so they might have been able to get a head jump on him. And I think that the first figure that we'll get is Dr. Octopus. Dr. Octopus has been shown in part of the ad campaign since day one, since the original trailer back in like August, I think it was, right? Or early September. So I bet that they got started on this one, and hopefully we'll get a figure of him quite shortly. An honorable mention kind of spot would be Lizard, Sandman, and the end of the film Spider-Man suit, and not the end battle, but the end shot of the film where he's designed his new kind of Ultimates looking Spider-Man suit with the bright metallic blue. I think that would be really cool to see. I think it's great that he's going back to the classic red and blue, and just in general about how the movie ends, I really like the position that he's in. I love the fact that he's kind of on his own now in the rickety kind of crappy New York apartment. I love that from the Sam Raimi movies, so to get that here I think is really exciting. Lizard would be a great figure to get, but just based on his design, they would either have to do him like Venom or Carnage, visible joints or rubber. Either way, there's trade-offs, and he wasn't that big of a character in the movie that I doubt we'll get him. So it's a character that I would really like to see in Hot Toys form, but I doubt it. I think Marvel Legends is more where we're going to get that figure. And then when it comes to Sandman, had he been looking regular in the movie, I would have thought Hot Toys would make him, but seeing that he was just kind of a CGI, like actual sand person, I doubt that we'll get him, because you can do him as a figure, of course, but I think he'd look a little plain, plus he did not have much of a part in the movie, so I doubt we'll get those two either. But I'm really hoping that we get these 5 figures, and I think that there's a very good chance that we will. So let me know what you guys think of my choices. I'm sure you guys have the exact same choices. There's not much variety of what we all want. I think we all want the exact same thing, so hopefully that will resonate with Hot Toys, and we'll all get exactly what we want. But let me know what you guys think, and thanks so much for watching.